Today we will be talking about line graphs. We're going to learn how to make line graphs so that we can graph our plant growth. Line graphs. A line graph is a graph used to show change over time. What are some examples of ways we can measure time? Seconds, minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, years, decades, and even centuries. When should we use line graphs? Well, here are some examples of and we'll decide whether or not we should use a line graph. Would we use a line graph to measure how many students in the class choose pizza as their favorite food? No. Why? Because pizza isn't a measurement of time. Would we use line graphs to measure how much it rained each month this year? Yes, because months and years deal with change over time. Let's look at a line graph. Tell me what you notice. Each of our 4 plants are listed. Our line graph has a title. It has our measurements. Here are some parts of a line graph that you will need to know. All line graphs have a title, and their x and y axes are labeled. The x-axis is the horizontal line. Everybody show me a horizontal line with your arm. Great. The y-axis is the vertical line. Everybody show me a vertical line with their arm. Great. The x and y axis usually start at 0. Our graphs will start as 0. When we use a line graph, we want to decide what intervals we want to use. In our case, the intervals will be height in centimeters and weeks. Using the line graph to graph our plant growth. For the past 5 weeks, you've been collecting data on the growth of your group's plants. Who can give me an example of the data that their group collected? Together we will make one line on a line graph. Then you will work in your groups on the classroom computers to input the data on your line graph using this website. It is already set up on the classroom computers. This is how we will create a graph online. First we will enter our group name and plant growth as our title. Then we will label both of our axes. Here we will put weeks on the x-axis and height in centimeters on our y-axis. We'll move down and enter the weeks. Week 1 and our data. 0. Week 2, 0.5 centimeters. Week 3, 1 centimeter. Week 4, 1.2 centimeters. And week 5, 2 centimeters. Then we will look over at the preview section and we will see our line graph created. We'll go to the print and save. We'll click on download and we'll download the graph as a JPEG to our desktop. Now that we have made our line graphs, we can use them to compare the growth of our plants and form hypotheses as to why we think some of the plants grew taller than the others. Let's compare plant A to plant B. How do we compare length? We use subtraction to compare. Let's do an example. Plant A is 1.5 centimeters, plant B 3 centimeters. Look at the heights. Which one's taller? Obviously plant B. Plant B is taller, but by how many centimeters? If you are in groups 1 through 3, please take out your math notebooks and compare your plants. Group 4 will meet with me in the back of the room at the round table. You must come up with 6 comparisons using mathematical statements. Who can give me an example of a mathematical statement? Plant A is 1.5 centimeters shorter than plant B. Plant B is 1.5 centimeters taller than plant A. When you are finished making 6 comparisons, I want you to put on your science thinking caps and write why you think that some plants grew taller than others. Let's do a little bit more practice. What are the week 5 measurements for the 4 plants? Plant A, 3 centimeters, plant B, 1 centimeter, plant C, 1.5 centimeters, and plant D, 2 centimeters. Which plant is the tallest? Plant A. Which plant is the shortest? Plant B. How will we calculate how much? By using subtraction. 3 centimeters minus 1 centimeter is 2 centimeters. How can we say this in a comparison sentence? Plant A is 2 centimeters taller than plant B. Let's do another one. Let's compare plant C with plant D. Plant C is 1.5 centimeters, plant D is 2 centimeters. How much shorter is plant C than plant D? We'll do subtraction. 2 centimeters minus 1.5 centimeters is 0.5 centimeters. Say this in a comparison sentence. Plant C is 0.5 centimeters shorter than plant B. What is the reciprocal sentence of that? Plant D is 0.5 centimeters taller than plant C. Forming our hypothesis. Why do you think that some of the plants grew taller than others? What are some factors that affect plant growth? Sunlight, water, soil? Which of your plants got more sunlight? More water? Less fertilized soil? How did this affect their growth?